Well, it's Monday, quite a nice day by the looks of things, and I'm just going to be heading down to the to Smithfield and then go to CBA today to just get a couple of things sorted. There's my housing loan had been bumped up to about, I think I mentioned before, it's about 150 above what it should be prior to all the hacking taking place. Now it should go back to the same figure, I would have thought. So we'll just see what's happening there. And also there's a foreign currency account that is actually sitting on my main page for net banking, which wasn't there before. And it came up the day that I got hacked, so I'm very nervous having that thing hanging around because it could be a gateway for the hackers. I don't know why NetBank haven't removed it, but I'm going to talk to them about it today. At least they'll be alerted. The other thing I want to do is actually get another HDMI cable, because now I'm using two computers. I'm sort of specialising with the desktop to do my banking, and I use my laptop for all other stuff. And it's a pain having to switch the cable over into the monitor, but apparently you can get an HDMI switch, so you can switch between two different cables. Now, hopefully Kmart's got that. They probably have, but if not, I'll see if I can source it elsewhere. So I'll try to get that before I go to the branch, because I'm going to get there so early that they wouldn't have even opened by then. So it'd be a good opportunity to do that. And I had another security scare on Saturday, even though now my bank accounts are working online, which is great. I had it, like I say, I had security scare on Saturday where my email account, the Google account, the Gmail account, a notice came up in sort of pink highlight at the top of the screen saying that my mail was now being forwarded to another address. And of course the address it was being forwarded to is the old Hotmail address the hackers are taking control of. So they'd obviously got into my Google account. They'd hacked the password and be able to do that. So that was really scary. So immediately I changed my password for Google and Gmail, and that seems to have fixed it. And I deleted all the forwarding information as the first thing I did. But it's really scary to know you're that vulnerable. But at least now I've got a new email, and hopefully it'll be more secure. But it's just a continual battle against these people. They will just continually try to worm their way into your accounts. So, and on top of that, about an hour or two later, I got these SMS messages from telcos, one from Telstra, two from Telstra and one from Optus, and they were talking about transferring my accounts, which I'd done about a week ago. So I don't know whether that was legit and just some stuff up, or that was hacking, but it felt like hacking at that time, so I felt like I was under siege on Saturday. It was pretty bad. One of the messages, the first Telstra one, said, "Right, stop, transfer, so we won't do a transfer to a Telstra account," which obviously I didn't want to happen. But straight above it, there was another message from Telstra saying that there was a code that I had to put to send back to them to initiate the transfer anyway that would be valid for 24 hours. So I started typing stop, then I stopped that and cleared it from the message and just didn't write anything in there, because people tell you just don't reply to anything that's suspicious, don't do anything. It's best to just not give them any links at all, so don't type anything and don't enter anything. So I didn't, and now it's Monday and nothing's happened, and I know that my phone account is okay, because I had to get a SMS alert on it. Two good bus drivers in a row. This guy actually took me directly to my street virtually, so he just offered to, so it was really nice of him. And I got stuff done at, it's turning up at the beginning of the business at the bank was a smart move. Got out of there in 25 minutes, so that was good. And got other stuff done as well, so a fairly productive morning. And it's only around 11:15 and I'm home. So not bad really. Beats going all the way to Cairns Central anyway. It's a lot easier just going down to Smithfield. So yeah, worked out well. Got a bit of a breeze, quite a nice day. At 8, I'm just going off to the local GP, the pathology section, just to get a blood test. And should only take about 10 minutes. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. The weather's been superb lately. And I should probably come into contact with the waste disposal truck, the rubbish collection. They're due about now. And I'll pass by a rather unhappy looking frog out the front here, my front gate. I assume they're unhappy. Maybe they're just meditating. What do you think? I don't think they're very happy. Anyway, there's always someone worse off than yourself, as they say. Any case, I'll get moving now and get the old jab in the around there in the elbow, and should be back to have a early morning coffee, which is what I'm going to look forward to. See you later. Confusing because normally the pathology lab is just there where the front door is, but now they've moved it further down. There's no window, it's a downgrade, it's a smaller office. And it's confusing because in the past you used to just knock on the door to indicate that you were waiting, which made a lot of sense because it's in the waiting room. Now they've moved it down the corridor, so you can't do that, so you just got to wait and go through reception. So I think it's a pretty silly change for change's sake maybe. But anyway, that's the modern world. I'm not surprised I've got a Crime Stoppers thing here. Every shopping centre is a high crime centre, which makes sense. I guess there's more opportunity for crime. It's been a month since I've actually tried using the Azito high pressure water pump, or whatever you call it. But I tried about a month ago around Grand Final Day around the back there. I do have a much longer hose going into the unit that time. Now that may have had something to do with the pressure, may not have been enough to activate it, but today it worked a dream because I looked at the instructions. I couldn't see I was missing anything. And as you can see, that little patch I just did there, it's quite dramatic, the difference. It needs a little bit of tidying up still, but it's much cleaner. You can see all that grime from cars and what have you over the years, probably oil, I would say, has been pretty well removed. So it does a very good job. And I finally cleaned up the soil I had there. I had some potting mix, which isn't great quality anyway, so I decided not to worry about it. And I did one of the tiles there, and again, it made a pretty short shrift of it. I'll go through all of those pavers and get them cleaned up as well, but you can see the dramatic difference there. And that's just my first go at it. I noticed that I had a very narrow spray, and I widened a bit, and I think it was better because it did a larger area and still seemed to remove a lot of stuff, so I might go with that. It's quite noisy to use. It's about the only downside, and I guess it uses a fair bit of water, but it seems to work pretty well. I've just got an extension cord here because I am limited by the electricity. I've got an outside power point, which is great, and there's one down the back as well, so it's perfectly designed for this sort of stuff. So I'll just substitute these, and then I'll be able to get down the front and do the paling fence, which probably isn't long for this world, but does look a lot better when it's cleaned up, so I might have a go at it anyway. So we'll see how it goes, and maybe I'll just continue on with that, because that is a dramatic improvement after doing that, especially even more so from a distance. You can see the difference there without all that grime and what have you. It looks a hell of a lot better. So looking forward to getting into it finally. I don't know why I've waited so long. Well, I didn't think I knew how to run it, but it wasn't doing anything wrong. I think it was just I had the hose out the back is just probably not the best to use for the water access, but we'll see. Anyway, I'll continue on here and along my merry way and see what I can do. Just got to be careful with the sun though. It's quite a warm day, and we're going to get a bit of a heat wave apparently, so we'll see how it all pans out in the next week. But yeah, it's good to finally get the damn thing working. Well, there's a couple and they actually went right down the back of the bus, a young couple, and of course they started playing what passes for music these days. Oh God, I can't stand it. It sounded tinny even to my ears, and my high frequency response these days is pretty crappy actually. So thank God I didn't have hearing aids in, because it would accentuate the sound even more. It was so bad I moved a seat closer to the front of the bus just to get to deaden the sound a bit, because it's just repetitive garbage. So yeah, it's a pleasant day, but it's a different demographic when you're travelling at this time of the day compared to the mornings when I normally turn up here. I'm not sure whether I'll get a morning appointments in the future. We'll just see how it goes. But it's good because it gives you the rest of the day to do shopping and stuff and get home early afternoon and sort of get stuff done. But today's going to be a bit later, so no big deal. It's not like I've got that many things on the agenda apart from cleaning up some annoying things with identity stuff. That's about it. Apart from that, pretty easy going. Backpack's quite heavy today because I've got I ran out of tonic water, and I don't have any ginger ale, and I got some cordial as well as assorted other bottles. So yeah, it's mainly liquids. It weighs quite a bit. I don't think I'd want to hike all the way from the main highway, the Cook Highway bus stop. We'll see how we go. I might just get the 111 there, do it the slow way and save myself the hassle. So we'll see how we go. Whew. Well, at least I got it done quickly. That's not my nuts, I don't think. Better not be. There's a lot of rubbish buses like the 123 that goes, I think goes to university. Absolute waste of time. So I'm not that concerned. But I can't see the number from here anyway. But for the school bus on the way home, which is unusual for me. Usually avoid it pretty well, but couldn't do that today. So I've got quite a heavy backpack, and quite grateful I don't have to try to change with the 110. It's quite windy though. The audio is probably terrible, but gee, it's a real breeze. Quite pleasant out, but yeah, a bit windy unfortunately. And there weren't as many school kids as the worst run I've had, where it was absolutely filled to the gills. It was just shocking at one day. It's always where that library is. That's where the schools are nearby, and that's where they get on. But it could have been worse. They left a couple of drink containers in the some of the, don't know which students it was, but they left a couple of containers there. And of course I had the obligatory woman coughing behind me, and she finally got off at Trinity Beach. But yeah, I just could not, I can do without another cold this year, so I probably should have moved spots as soon as I sat there. Of course, and then she started coughing. The joys of public transport. Anyway, I'm home now, and it's a little after 3 o'clock, and I won't have to do this for another week. It's cooking with Doug, one of my rare occurrences where I'm actually taking you out to the kitchen, and just as the easiest meal that I can make, so I thought I'd just pass it on to you. It's so dead simple, it just takes time, but I've had very good results with it. It's the construction of beef rendang, and it's a meal that I got a taste for in Malaysia. It's quite spicy, so if you don't have spicy taste, I'd probably say stay clear of it. But the main thing I've learned is that you need to boil it down to just the basic ingredients. You don't want to have too much water at the end of the process, and it takes about 4 hours for me to do it in this pot. Now this is the total requirements as far as the there's the implement required, which is the just the pot that you do the slow cooking in. I've got some mince there as well, and that I got some diced beef mince from Coles. I think it's around 500 ml, and it goes between $13 and $11. This week it's down to 11, so I thought, what the hell? You can get the $11 one in the casserole all the time, so that's okay. In these inflationary times, you've got to try to save what you can. I got this on special as well. This is the AM beef the Rendang mix. It's got all of the spices required. It makes it dead easy, so even a crappy cook like myself can do a decent job. I got the Coles coconut milk. I haven't tried the name ones. I generally find the generic products are okay. And the only other ingredient really required here is olive oil. And of course I use a spatula just to stir around the mixture. So it's so simple. The way I do it is I just put enough cooking oil into this container and just to brown the meat. I'll just show you that in a second. And once that's done, then it's just a matter of putting in the paste, mixing that in, and finally the coconut milk. And that's basically it. All you've got to do is mix all those ingredients together and then just have a bit of patience. You can use something like a pressure cooker to speed up the process if you like, but I'm just using this. This is a fairly cheap pot, and it does the job. It's got you can see the top through because it's glass, which is handy because I just have it on a very low setting to simmer for about 4 hours, and I find that does the job perfectly well. The other thing is I always put them into plastic containers, freeze them overnight, so I can have them in whenever I want. So it'll make 4 servings for me, and as I say, over time I've learnt to basically make sure that you evaporate a lot of the moisture. Then you get a lot more flavour at the end of the process, and I think it's really nice. So I just put it on rice, cook up some rice and use it on a bed of rice, and what you need to also have is shredded coconut, desiccated coconut. You need to cover it. I don't know why it makes it better, but it does. It makes a big difference. So if you follow those simple steps, you can't go wrong. Okay, so there's the pot. You can see that I've got a liberal amount of olive oil in the bottom there. And I just like to brown the meat up just so that it basically gets a little bit more flavour. That's not exactly the recipe that they recommend online if you look up AM, but it works for me, and so I'll just take out a bit of the meat, put it in there. Pretty decent quality when you get the proper diced meat as opposed to the casserole. It's a bit more fat in the casserole, but it might be tastier, so maybe worth trying. I think I have done it with the casserole milk, casserole diced meat once. Oh, milk, mate. Meat is what I was trying to say. Anyway, this is you just shove it in. I put it on a high level. I've got a crappy hot plate, as you can see, which I bought at Kmart. This one died in the arse. The original, it's pretty ancient, and it was working when I bought the place, but it died about a few months after that. All right, it's about, say, 5 minutes into stirring. You see there's a bit of colour there. And another 5 to 10 minutes and it should all be ready, and I can finally put the paste in. So it doesn't take long at all to do this particular meal. Coming along quite nicely. Yeah, I'd say we're about only about 10 minutes into the process, and as you can see, it's getting quite brown. Now I'll open up the paste and just dish it in. It's quite thick and goes in lumps, so you do need to stir it through quite evenly. I find the spoon's the best way to get it out into the actual pan like this, the pot. Most of it comes out pretty easy. It's fairly dry.
It's very spicy, very aromatic. You can certainly smell it. It's quite nice. And I know it's cheating, but I couldn't be bothered going through the whole process. No doubt purists will do all the ingredients and make up their own paste, but seriously, I find this to be incredibly tasty. It's I wouldn't want to have it every night, but I'm more than happy to eat it on a weekly basis. I think this was actually even less than $3 for this particular container of paste, because it was on special. I think it's a little over $3, maybe $3.50 or something like that. Of course, everything's going in the one direction, you may have noticed when you're doing your shopping. So I was very happy to get the diced beef for $11. That's one of the few items that seems to be at the same price, but virtually everything else in the supermarket now is getting high. I got a delivery today, so the funny thing is, I was getting grog all over my t-shirt. Doesn't matter, it's got to be washed anyway. But yeah, it does tend to sprinkle all over the place, to splash. So I'm a bit of a grot. There you go. You can see it's looking like a thick gravy now. It doesn't take long to sort of basically mix in. Dead easy recipe, really. Yum. I think I worked out that the cost of this would be around $4 a serve, I would say. If you get 4 serves, being conservative, I'd say it cost me about $16 all up. So, because the can of coconut milk is a little over $1, I think, and so it's about another $4 to $5 on top of the beef, and you're basically there. So it's pretty economical. So there we go with the coconut milk. Easy peasy, just pours in. No drama at all. As I say, the main thing with this is just you bring it down to a simmer, and if you're doing it old school like me without the whiz-bang things like pressure cookers and what have you, it will take you I think 4 hours. It doesn't say that on the instructions. They're more they say only an hour or 2, but I think that's BS. A little bit more moisture. It'll boil down in that time. Okay, so now we're basically there. Just got to stir it all in. I like to have it evenly stirred throughout, and then leave it on high until it finally gets the whole mixture's warmed up, and then I drop it right down on the settings on this particular unit down to or just above 1, I think. It's a very slow simmer, because if you've got the glass topper, it's only got one little opening there for air to escape, so it stays quite warm. So like I say, when it warms up, all I've got to do then is boom, put that down, simmer and wait, and that's basically it. It's one of those meals that is best served a day or 2 after you make it, and presumably that's so that the flavours can be absorbed by the ingredients, which is basically just lumps of beef in this case. It's a very simple recipe, but a very rewarding one, I think. Okay, you can see the lid's on, and it's only been 5 minutes later, and look at that. Bubble armour. It's simmering big time. So it didn't take long at all for the process to begin, but it will take quite some time for the so I might drop that right down to 1. It's quite Yeah, this is more than last time. It's certainly, it is getting warmer in cans. I guess the temperature's a bit warmer, but yeah, it would have been more wintry weather up here when I first, when I did the previous batches. I've done a few this year. I'm doing it quite regularly. I'd be making beef rendang at least once a month, I'd say. It's become a real favourite of mine. So, yeah, that's not bad. It's you could probably do it a little lower than that. It's actually quite active. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you think there's anything there of use to you or entertainment or whatever. And either do that or give me a thumbs up, or if you're feeling really energetic, do both. That'd be great. But please don't ignore me. That's the worst thing you can do on YouTube, is be ignored.